How do our horses survive temperatures of negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit? So hi, we're Mountain Shadows Equine, so we're located in Laramie, Wyoming, and we have a forecast that shows negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit as a low and negative 3 degrees Fahrenheit as a high. And I'll go ahead and put those temperatures in Celsius for everybody who's not in the US. But we get a lot of concern about how our horses do in those cold temperatures and what we do to make sure they stay happy and healthy. So right now we're at a temperature of 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but the wind is about 20 miles per hour. So this leaves the temperature around negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chill. And so it's only going to get colder from here. Tonight's going to be negative 11, and yeah, getting colder throughout. Tomorrow there's a high of 3 degrees, I think. And we're at an elevation of 7,200 feet, so 7,200 feet. So we're up in the mountains, and it gets pretty cold. We get a lot of weather here. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what we do to make sure our horses survive this kind of weather. So the first and most important thing is making sure the horses have water. So we have automatic heated waters in all of our stalls, and these are really, really important. Obviously they have to have water. There's a lot of kind of hacks that people use to try to keep water open during these cold storms, but at these temperatures, once it gets below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, really nothing will keep it warm besides electricity or keeping the water underground. So these are all electric heated waterers, and we have these in every single stall to make sure that the horses always have fresh, warm water. And you can see, so there's some scale because we have some hard water, but you can see that the steam is building up some frost here too. But so all of our horses have access to these waterers. Then the second thing we do is give them a lot of hay. So horses stay warm when they're digesting forage. And so we make sure that they have feed to digest throughout the whole day. We feed them a ton of food, and so they're just constantly eating, and they can stay warm that way. And yes, the poop does freeze to the ground, and we have to pick it off like poopsicles. So next, each of our horses have access to a stall, so shelter, windbreak, and then we do blanket each of our horses. However, for a lot of our horses, this is probably more for our peace of mind than their comfort. So horses' coats, they grow winter coats just like dogs, buffalo, moose, wild animals, and their winter coats get really long and fluffy. And what they can do is they lift their coats, they lift the fur to trap in warm air and warm themselves during these really cold snaps. And when you put a blanket on them, it pushes down that fur, and so they can't do that anymore. The one thing that really negates that, their ability to warm themselves and trap that air, is with the wind blowing. So the wind will really ruffle up the fur, blow away that warm air, and ruin their ability to heat themselves. And in Wyoming, we get a lot of wind. So making sure that they have access to a windbreak is most important to make sure that they can stay warm. But we also do blanket most of them, although, to be honest, as long as they're healthy and have a good quality winter coat, I've not seen a horse shiver. So drastic weather changes and kind of severe weather can increase the risk of colic, and so can dehydration. So it's really important to make sure that they're drinking water, and sometimes when it's really cold, they don't always drink a lot of water. So we will, when it gets really cold, a lot of times we'll put in electrolytes in their feeder water just to help them want to drink more and make sure that they are getting that moisture in their system. So one of the last things that we do is our horses that get mash or soaked feed, so beet pulp or soaked alfalfa, soaked grass pellets, whatever it is, we make sure it's nice and warm, because that cold soaked feed entering their system could give them a shock and maybe give them colic. Giving them soaked feed can be another great way if they're not drinking enough water to get more water in their system. However, with the cold weather and them already being at high risk of colic, you have to be really careful introducing new feeds. when it gets really cold like this. But for horses that already get soaked feed, we make sure it's nice and warm, so when it goes in their tummy, it keeps them nice and warm and it feels good and can help them get some water. Yeah, so that's how we survive the cold out here in Wyoming.